I'm going to tell you a crazy paranormal experience I had. I really don't know what happened. It was when I was living in Raleigh, North Carolina, off Stanhope Street, right beside Hillsborough Street, downtown Raleigh, right on the campus of North Carolina State University. The house we lived in was a crazy, weird house. It was surrounded by a gravel driveway, which was a student parking lot for NC State. So, like, the entire backside of the yard was just a gravel driveway where students would be parked everywhere. And if I went outside, there would just be cars everywhere beside my house. Right beyond the back of the driveway was the railroad tracks. And we would get multiple trains that would come through every day. One train every day would come through really loudly, really fast. It would shake the whole house. It was really crazy. Uh, we also found a letter in the wall of this house that someone had tried to hide from the 50s. It was a letter where someone had gone AWOL from the army, and I guess that person had lived at that address, and they sent a letter from the army saying, like, where are you at? This person is AWOL. If you know where they are, contact such and such. We're looking for this person. We found that letter in the wall while we were searching. That's a different story, but we found that letter. So that's part of the story. Now let me tell you the exact paranormal experience I had. So I was in the kitchen. See, there's a lot of context to this story, so you have to stick with me here. There's a lot of context to how this story goes. I actually have to step back from the paranormal experience to explain my room. So in this layout of the house, the kitchen was laid out where the window went to the back of the house, where the parking lot was, where the railroad track was. So if you were at the kitchen sink, you would be looking out the window to a parking lot, and beyond the parking lot would be the railroad tracks. Right to the side of the kitchen was my room, my bedroom. So there was a doorway from the kitchen to my room, and there were 3 doorways in my bedroom, which was really freaky. 3 doorways. There was one to the kitchen to my room. There was one to the outside, straight to the parking lot, to the railroad tracks to my room. And there was also a little door that went to the basement. This like creepy, like half finished stairs that just went down to like a mud room that was like, it was not finished, but it was really weird down there. But it was a basement. So if I was sitting in my bed at night, I would have one door right here to the basement, one door to the kitchen, and one door to outside. I'd just be sitting in my bed looking at 3 different doors. Kind of weird, right? So one day, I'm in the kitchen. The water's running. I'm washing dishes. Clink, 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 clink. Just washing dishes. It's just a normal day. And as I'm washing dishes, that fast train that comes through once a day starts coming in. Horn blowing. And as I'm washing dishes, clink, 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 water and train going. All of a sudden, I get super freaking scared. Like, I feel like someone's coming up behind me, like about to just like hit me on the back of my head. And so I turn off the water and I turn around, and no one's there. But in an instant, I get this flash of just in my mind of like someone sitting there in that house, not me, but someone else, washing dishes, trains going by, and then getting hit on the back of the head. And it's just like, it's crystal clear in my mind how it like happened. And then I imagine them like getting drugged through the kitchen into my room where I currently sleep at night, and then down into the basement. Like, I just have this vision. Doesn't make any sense at all. And I, but it was crystal. I can't explain to you how like it just flashed in my head. This like series of events. It was dark, and I told all my roommates about this, which was my brother, Jules, and Derek. I had three roommates at the time, and we're all weirdos. Jules was telling me about like, anyways, I don't have to go. We all had weird experiences all the time, so we would not be afraid sharing this. And I told them about this, but it was just like a weird experience that I had. It didn't mean anything. We end up moving out of that house. Uh, and in my mind, actually, going back to the letter, I kind of put this all together where I imagined a scenario based on what I saw and the letter in the wall about the guy going AWOL from the 50s, that maybe guy came home on break from the army, trying to surprise his wife. And he comes home and his wife is shagging some dude. He's like showing up with flowers, like, I'm home from the army. And he catches his wife shagging some dude, ends up killing her, dragging her through my room to the basement, buries her down there or something, ends up covering things up. The letter comes, he hides it in the wall, because he doesn't go back to the army. He like freaks out, like decides he's going to do something else. I really don't remember how I put all this story together. It'd be weird now living there for so long for the letter to actually come. I don't really remember how I came up with the story, but that was the way I imagined that thought in my head, plus the letter. Maybe that's what happened. A few years go by after we move out of this house. My brother ends up, and I really don't know this part of the story very well, except my brother telling me this part, but essentially he hung out with a detective that a crime did happen in that house. Very similar to the vision I got. It was not the story that I came up with, but it was very similar. Basically, some type of drifter dude had come down the railroad tracks, had stabbed a lady in the kitchen with a kitchen knife, drug her through the kitchen, through my room, into the basement, had like disappeared. They end up never finding the actual murder weapon, but they found a similar set, like another knife that was same. They end up, the reason why the detective knew about this case is because they end up like lying to the defendant, saying that, we found the murder weapon, which they had not. And he confessed, and he ended up like going to jail or prison for the murder of this woman, for stabbing her in the kitchen, dragging her through the kitchen, through my room, into the basement, just like I had seen, just like I had talked about many years before. So that is my story of my paranormal. I don't know how that happened, but now the reason why I'm telling this story is because after telling this story again, I realized something after learning some other things. Like, I've been watching the Sean Ryan podcast and learning about the Monroe Institute and BiNural uh, beats, and basically different frequencies and different ears of how to meditate and do stuff like remote viewing or tapping into larger consciousness, talking with aliens. Who knows what you can actually do? I don't know. Talking to God. I don't really know. But I realized after telling the story the other day that that's exactly the reason why I was tapped in, is because it was a sound thing. It was the sound of the water. It was the dishes clinking. Ding, 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 ding. It was the train. It was all these different sounds that were in different frequencies and different hertz that unlocked something in my brain that it's true. You can do that. And that's the only answer I have for what I experienced, is that there was some large combination of different frequencies and something that just can unlock something of consciousness where you can tap into a higher plane of a different, I don't know. But after thinking about this, I developed the same sounds I was hearing that day, and I present them to you now. And this is not meditation. Far from it. This is tapping into the untapped. This is not to calm you.